How am I supposed to work through these things if I am disconnected from my feelings?
Taking an antidepressant didn't actually disconnect me from my feelings. It gave me enough chemical and emotional system regulation that I could actually start doing some really deep processing of my trauma. Now, before I go any further, this video is not coming from a place of judgment, just a place of lived experience. I have spent a lot of time living on medication and off of medication, and also have plenty of trauma. In the early days after I'd come back from Iraq and I was really struggling, somebody gave me this piece of advice, and for me, it quite literally saved my life. The piece of advice was to get on an antidepressant for minimum 6 months, better if it's closer to a year. Find one that you like that has a minimal amount of side effects, because they all have side effects, but find the meds that work and stay on them. Because trauma alters our brain chemistry, and sometimes we need external store-bought brain chemistry to help balance us back out. And when we are on the meds and the brain is a little more chemically balanced, then we have the emotional capacity to do the trauma work, to see what happened, to understand what happened, to process how we want to deal with it in the future. There was parts of my trauma that I could not even begin to engage with and discuss and process until I was on an antidepressant. And in the 20 years I've been home from Iraq, I've spent probably more time off of antidepressants than I have spent on them. But the times I've been on them were incredibly helpful in getting me stable. It allowed me to do therapy and look for tools and find other ways to regulate my nervous system and deal with my triggers. Because the brain chemistry part was dealt with, then I had all these resources to deal with the other side of it. So I'm not saying that getting on antidepressants is ultimately a right or wrong kind of answer. And some people never find an antidepressant that they can tolerate and they're comfortable with, so it becomes not an option for them. But if you've never been on an antidepressant and you are so completely unwilling to try, I would be curious, what is at the root of that unwillingness to at least experiment with this tool and see what it can do for you? And the cool thing is, you don't have to stay on them forever. Give it a try. If it helps for a while, great. If it doesn't help at all, great. At least you know how that tool fits or doesn't fit in your toolbox.